Good night, everyone.
Night.
Hope,
Night.
Night, man.
hope everyone is doing well.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Right, good. Anything interesting this week? The week has just started, but
Saw some disturbing images of a bad accident on the highway.
oh yes,
People,
I think I saw that one out by Nepean side.
When was that accident?
I'm not quite sure. I think it's between today or yesterday.
Oh, but a fire. I think two people, one might have died, one guy got severely burnt, So it was really kind of disturbing.
Anybody shot anything interesting recently?
Well, for me, I don't get out and shoot as often as I should, If I do go out, it's like going fishing. I don't know what I'm going to come back with. I'm going to hit some snapper or a pure sprat. But the only thing I've done recently is basically what I'm going to present on. So that's that.
Okay. All right, so welcome to this evening's meeting. All right, so for this evening, we will be focusing on two of our members who will be showcasing. One will be showcasing her recent accomplishments, photographic accomplishments, and then the other will be showcasing images from a recent event. But before we get into that, I'd like to thank our VP, Sherrod Little, and Belinda Nethersole, who had the opportunity of presenting at Camperdown High School's Career Day. While it was short notice, they made themselves available to represent the society, as well as share what experiences they had as photographers and photography being seen as a career. Just have a few images here of them on site. You can see Dr. Little here sharing with the students how to hold and take an image. I can see that he also brought his drone with him. So they got a taste of what aerial photography would have been like. A group shot with them and some of the students who are present and teachers as well. So again, we'd like to thank them for stepping up and representing and sharing with our young minds.
Mr. President, is it possible to just get a short report from Belinda, the feedback and reception they got from the students?
Belinda, would you be up for that?
Sure, short and sweet. Yeah, it was as Glenn had mentioned, it was last minute short notice. But I think all in all, it ended up being a good day. They had artists from different types of genres. So they had painters, they had sculptors, they had poets, they had writers. We were a part of that career day. So each person or each organization was given a chance to speak. And Sheridan and I spoke, he did the intro, and I went through some of the different jobs of photography. God bless my poor voice because I cannot project. But I think in the end, when everybody had finished presenting, they allowed the students to come in and interact with us. And as a result, you saw the pictures with Sharad showing one of the kids how to use the camera and stuff like that. I think that was a much more productive session because then they could ask us questions, we could interact. Sharad was showing them how to use the camera, the drone, you know, the guys kind of honing and was asking him about the drone and stuff like that. So I think all in all, it was a good day, or a good morning, I should say. And I think we should look to be doing more of that. Camperdown actually does not have a camera club. And one of the young ladies was very interested in actually learning photography. And she was actually telling me about the exposure triangle and all of that lovely stuff. So I think it's something that we should look into doing more of in terms of speaking to students and maybe trying to do camera clubs because interest is there. It's just a matter of bringing it out. But yeah, it was a good day, I think. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you for that, Belinda. All right, so I think we can go into our first presentation. I'll ask Robert, the more seasoned.
Well, you know, it's best Belinda go last because, you know, when you go to a stage show, the big artists always come on last. You know,
I'm going to ignore her at this point.
you know, they like a new DJ, them come on first and do them thing, you know. Anyway, I think most people here know me, or have seen my picture, or not my picture, my name pop up from time to time on, you know, on the chat. So just to give a little background before I get into to sharing the images, I came into photography about 4 years ago. I retired from formal working life in 2015 when I was 60. I'm now 68. So I am kind of like, I don't know if you want to, I don't want to sound cliche, old dog trying to learn new tricks. But I chose photography because I've always maintained, and maybe Dr. Little could expound on that. You know, my other activity is cycling. If you look in the background there, you see a bicycle hung on the wall. That's my track bike. I've been in cycling since I was a teenager. And I always felt that once we get into our latter years, I think I'm in my latter years now, we need to also keep the mind active and keep our brain cells stimulated, you know. So I've had the unpleasant experience of seeing a number of my colleagues have succumbed to dementia, you know. One right now is in an institution. So, you know, they say Uncle Al and Uncle Jerry, Uncle Alzheimer and Uncle Geriatric, they're always hovering in the background. So I chose photography. I also drew some inspiration from a friend of mine who was also a cyclist and who was a professional photographer, but unfortunately he has no past. So in 2018, I went out and bought a camera bundle, a Nikon D7200. It came with two kit lenses, 80 to 140 millimeter f4.5, 3.5, and a 55 to 300 f4.5. Since then, I have acquired two more lenses, a Sigma 70 to 200 and a Nikon 24 to 70. But as you know, when you fit those, the full frame lenses, so when you fit them to a crop sensored body, it pumps up the focal length a bit, I think by 50%. So it's probably like the 70 to 200 would be like a 105 to 300. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the 24 to 70 would be like a 36 to 105. So I set about after that, you know, I have no formal training. watching YouTube videos and stuff like that, learning about the exposure triangle, sorry, shooting in RAW versus JPEG, and just basically how to operate the camera, the various features on the camera, and so on and so on. Still, I don't think I don't know every aspect of the camera, but I think I know enough to at least try and capture half decent exposure. So my first opportunity to really get a chance to play with the camera was in 2019 when I went to the Canadian Formula One Grand Prix. And we had a good seat in the pavilion where it was in one of those corners where the car it's in a chicane, like an S-bend. So the cars had to slow down to go through. So I took over 700 images, and I think I mean, self-praise is no recommendation, but I think I was pleasantly surprised, with what I captured. So, but they were all shot in JPEG because I'm still not fully proficient in the use of any of the major photo editing tools like Lightroom or Photoshop. But after the Caribbean, what was it now, the photo walk sometime last year, I took Stuart Reeves's advice and went and downloaded Nikon NX Studio, and that is what I've been using now. I've been kind of chewing on that a bit, and hopefully I can, move on to, like a building blocks. So I guess eventually I'll get there. I'm not earning money from photography, but every opportunity I get to like shoot a birthday party or a function, cocktail, no weddings, I'm not really there yet. But that's basically where I am. I don't really get a chance to go out and shoot much nature or much wildlife. But the opportunities that I do get, I have some nice birds. I went on a cruise recently and I caught some really nice birds that were following the ship. I used to have almost like a wildlife sanctuary in front of my house, but the owners of the land have chopped down all the trees, so all the birds have gone. So yeah, so last month I had tickets to go to this concert, the Protege Lost in Time concert. So I took along camera with me, and I wasn't sure what I was gonna come back with. It was a very rainy night, and the ground was all soggy, and I got wet. And luckily, the camera was in my bag, so that never got wet. But by the time the headliners came on, the rain eased up, and it turned out to be quite a good night. So I don't know if maybe now would be a good time. What I did was when I got into the grounds, I kind of got a spot. I don't know if you can see what I have here.
Yes, we're saying.
Right. So let's see now, hold on. Oh yes, the button here. Yeah, so I said, okay, fine. The light looks good. I took the 18 to 140 kit lens with me. And that was it. Just the camera body, no flash or anything. The stage was brightly lit. I was about maybe 30 feet back from the stage, and I was lined up about halfway between each end. So I had a good view, both left and right. So the first few shots I took, including the one that I'm showing you here, was just kind of like test shots just to see how, just to find that little sweet spot. But when I looked at the image, let me just backtrack a bit. Since the Caribbean photo walk, I've been shooting in RAW, and but I've been using NX Studio to do some editing. But what I find is that when you open the RAW image in the way that you normally open a JPEG image, it gives you the same amount of sliders, the few sliders that you have. And since this was nothing complicated, I actually used that to do the minor editing that I did. And I actually saved them as JPEG images, but I still have the RAW image intact in another file. So just to give you an idea of the camera settings, I kept my ISO low between 100 and 150. Shutter speed never went above 150. The lens was 18 to 140, all shot manually, and the aperture was between f5 and f7. And I used back button focusing. From time to time, I shot a few in live view, because what happened is, when an artist come on and, everybody get excited and them start put up them hand in the air, the hands just, I had to hold up the camera, and I caught a few like that, So, and the back button allowed me to, focus on the subject that I was focusing on, put it that way. So this was the backdrop when I got there like at around 7 o'clock, although the show started from early in the day. They featured, I think they're trying to change the concept of the concert to something like Rebel Salute, where you bring on a lot of artists. But those artists appear early in the afternoon, and then the headliners come on in the latter part of the evening. So this was basically the backdrop. I got a few of the musicians tuning up before the first artist came on. This was the MC. You might know her, but I don't remember her name. And this was just another test shot. This is one of the DJs that kind of primed the crowd a little with some music. These guys were supposed to be some well-known DJs, but it was the first I was seeing them. And this is one of the guys. He's from abroad. This is an idea of how what I had to, what you were facing. You're like 30 feet from the stage. It's very cramped, and everybody putting up their hand, and you can see the cell phones up in the air and everything. So there's another test shot. You can see the cell phones going up, and this was where the show was about. The first main artist was about to come on, and she came on and announced. It was Romain Virgo. So I got quite a few shots of him, and he had, as you can see, he's quite dramatic, getting into his thing. His backup singers were very much into a lot of drama, as you can see here. Some of our braids there getting entangled with I never even noticed that until I saw the shot after, That's him again. I'll just run through them again. I'll just pause them for a while. These images are all cropped. I had to crop them down because, while I was shooting at the full extension at 140 mm, it was still a little distance back. So, but that little kit lens really has served well. I mean, it can give you some pretty sharp images, pretty clear. See him again. That's the bass player. Another backup singer. Yeah, the edge of the stage. Bigger view of one of his backups. Being a bit expressive there. I see the musicians in the background getting into it as well. Bass player again. And this was a band change when Virgo had done his bit. And basically, the backdrop kind of changed a little bit. The drummer kind of tuning up on it. But it was here tuning up the instruments. And then Protege came on and did a few songs. It's a backdrop with Jesse Ryle in the background. Then Jesse Royal joined him on stage and he went through his thing. One point, both of them were on stage together. That's him blurred, Protege blurred in the background and Royal in the front. And then Leela Ike, she came on and went through her repertoire. I don't remember the name of this young lady, but she's part of the circle of singers that Protege promotes. This is Naomi Cohen, the daughter of Carlene Davis and Tommy Coleman. She's a singer in her own right now, you all might know. That's her and Jesse Royal on stage. This is Savannah, one of the singers, one of the young upcoming singers from his, I don't know if you want to call it camp, but you usually see them. I've been to about 2 Protege concerts before and I've seen them. Again. And this guy is Mortimer. He's he does I don't really know much about him, but one or two of the songs that he sang I recognize. I think this is the last one. And that's it. So what really happened, some other artists came on after, but I think they ran into some time management issues because they had their permit allowed them to expire at 12 o'clock and the police were right on spot to shut things down. And at the end of the show, he had popcorn and a couple of other artists. But what I discovered too about even an event like this, I was standing up for 5 hours. I have a lot of more pictures, but I didn't really want to make it too long. But this was the best of the lots. But photography is physically taxing. I mean, I had a backache after, you know. So I guess photography, while it speaks to your creative side and, you know, it also keeps you, yeah, I think you have to have a certain amount of fitness. I mean, sometimes at the racetrack, when I saw those guys heaving those 600mm prime lenses, I wonder how they really manage, because even when I was at the Grand Prix back in 2019, that Sigma lens was very heavy and I was really in pain after. So, you know, it's good for photographers to try and do some workout of some sort. That little camera can get heavy after a while. Yeah, so that was my experience. Hope you all found it okay. What do can I
Thank
stop
you,
the show
Robert.
now?
I enjoyed it, Robert. Very nice. I
Good.
like your colors you captured and your composition, you know.
And feel free to, you know, if any, you know, to critique it, because as I say, you know, I've came into photography late, so I'm still in learning. I mean, my foot is only cracking the door, peeping in.
Remind me, what lens were you using?
I was using the 18 to 140, but I was fully
18.
extended at one. Yeah, the
Okay.
lens was right out.
Okay, and that's not a full frame lens, right?
No, that was the kit lens that came
Kit lens,
with
right,
the
140.
Right.
Okay, yeah,
Right.
right. Question, what was your shutter speed at?
My
But
shutter speed when I looked at
very important,
Mhm.
but for these shows and where there's action, to try and get faster a shutter speed as possible to help you
Right.
with it.
Well, my shutter speed was like between 150 and 200. But my focus setting was on C, autofocus continuous. So because the artists are moving, sometimes you get a little chance to pan, and with the back button focus, I was able to kind of lock them in. I'm surprised that they came out as sharp as they did, because 200 is not really a fast shutter speed by any stretch of the imagination. When I
Right. This
shot
is
those
what I was
birds,
getting at. This is what I'm
yeah,
getting at. Yeah,
right.
next time try and push it as fast as you can,
Okay.
and you'll see a big difference with the sharpness.
Okay. Okay. I will. Because when I
So,
shot those birds on the cruise ship, it was at 1/2000th of a second that I shot those, and the birds were flapping, and I was able to freeze some of them, So I can appreciate the need to really try and capture a sharp image using a fast shutter speed. Yeah. So I'll bear that in mind.
also consider experimenting with your ISO.
Right.
So in a situation like this, because the stage is lit the way it is,
Mm-hmm.
it affords you to bump up your ISO.
Oh, I see what you mean. Without
Right,
getting the noise.
right.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I remember one concert I was at, I think it was Shaggy and Friends the last time it was held.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shooting a full frame camera,
Mm-hmm.
and I could have shot all the way up to ISO 12,000.
Whoa. Wow. And I guess now you have a lot more tools on the market that can even eliminate whatever noise you have. I keep seeing things about Topaz, and I don't know to what extent you use that.
Well, they're
a lot.
good. I'd
Yeah,
say don't focus on not capturing noise,
right.
focusing on capturing the image you want.
Okay,
You
fine.
can always do
Right,
minimal noise reduction afterwards.
right.
But I'd say for the camera I was using,
Mm-hmm.
when I enter a low light situation, I default to ISO 1600 to start,
Okay, okay.
and then I adjust from there. So look at your camera, do some tests to see where you can push the ISO to and
Mm-hmm.
still get
For
images
sure.
that you're comfortable with.
Okay. When I did in 2018, I actually went to Reggae Songfest, but that was a kind of like a disaster. I mean, I caught some images, but they were nowhere as clear as these. I was like about 100 feet back from the stage. The arrangement, I hadn't been to Songfest in a long time. And what they did was they literally cordoned off half of the concert ground, and everything immediately in front of the stage up to that cordon was VIP, VVIP, and everybody else was clustered in the back, and everybody had chairs, which was a big mistake. So I had to be shooting between. I have to ask Amanda so long and a little bit so I can focus between. But I mean, the images were interesting, but they were for at a professional standard. They would with I guess what you'd call throwaways, but I still keep them though as a reminder.
Yeah, that's good.
Mhm.
I think you're
And
on the right track.
Okay, that's good to hear.
More practice. And it is true that if your camera is heavy, you can't comfortably
Oh,
move around. But
it's done it.
yes,
Oh, hi, how are you doing?
good, good.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
will come.
The
It's just that
camera.
you got some good advice from Bruce
Yes, I'm definitely gonna
and from President. So it's just practice, Robert.
as a matter of fact, I've written it down here. I'm writing it down. So the camera does get heavy over time. I mean, when you're at a long event, I mean, as I said, I had a lower backache. And what happened is the ground was slightly sloping. So, all of that. And then you had to be standing in one position because it was cramped. and it starts to get hot, and some people want to dance, but them don't realize it's a big crowd and you have to put up with all kind of things.
You learn to
Yeah.
weave through people, you learn to move through persons. Have you ever seen Veral taking pictures? You learn to move around.
Yes, kind of weave your way through. You see,
Constantly looking.
right. One opportunity to get a better position.
Yes.
Mhm.
Not a better, a different.
Yes.
Sometimes, yeah, different angle.
Mhm. Right.
Right.
Because it would have been good maybe to move to one side of the stage, and to the other side, but I was stuck there in the middle, I couldn't move at all. It was jammed, despite the rain, that's what really surprised me. So, but
Your
And
plus
Robert,
is that you had the
yeah,
images
yes,
sharp, I think, and the colors, you had successful color exposures.
right.
So that is a good start. There's not a lot of blur, which people would normally start with.
Mhm.
You got the punching performances where they lift their hands, they throw back their head. You got the expressions. So that is a good start.
Okay, great. I'm on the right track. What I
This
find
guy
is that some,
Mortimer is also an artist, a visual artist,
okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I find what I try to do is like, for instance, sometimes when you see it, when you catch the artist in a good position, they have the mic so close to the mouth that they block out half of the face.
Yes.
So you have to try and catch them at a point where you can at least see the face, I mean, and you see the expression. Right?
Nice.
So yeah.
That's good. That's good.
So
and Robert,
mhm.
you mean I can understand. I'm the senior to you, so I understand about the harm of fatigue when you're
Yes.
shooting a concert. But you're better off moving around, being
Yeah.
at different angles, and having your body in different shapes than
Okay.
stay in one place.
Okay. Yeah.
That
I
is
can.
where you feel the pain and the strain on your back.
Okay. Okay.
And you have more fun if you can move
Yeah.
and get a different perspective.
Yes. When I was at the Grand Prix, though, it's very strict. You're assigned a seat, and you have to sit in that seat. You can stand up and take pictures, but I tried to move into the aisle and sit in the aisle in the pavilion that I was in, but security would have none of it. I had to go back to our seat. So, but luckily, it was a 3-day event, and you got a chance to see the cars come around. And the most packed day is the actual race day. On the practice days, the pavilion is not very crowded, so you get a chance to move and and change position. But at this concert here, boy, I tell you, I couldn't, the young people jam up the place, But I will, in future, what I'll probably do is maybe stay a little further back where I have a little more movement. I can move rather than try and get into the thick of it, Yeah, definitely will try that.
Okay, great. Any other questions for Robert? Okay. All right. Thanks, Robert, for
Right.
sharing.
Okay, so I can just click on stop share now, right?
Yes, you can.
This is the first I'm sharing an image on Zoom. So this is a learning process for me too, you know what I mean?
Yes,
So,
all a part of your development.
take have patience with me. All right. Mhm.
All
Maybe
right,
a minute.
so we go right into our next presenter, Belinda Nethersole.
All right, evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good
again,
evening.
Belinda.
Um, Dwayne asked me to do two short things. One is to show the images from JCDC, and two, to just give you guys an idea of what the application process looks like for JCDC. All right. So I'll start with the application process, and then I will go into the images. All right. I will start by saying I don't like posting images. I'm still struggling with that. So if you're like that, I fully understand. And don't usually like taking images, which is also very ironic because most of the JCDC images have somebody in it, right?
Oh, okay.
What I will say is the first year that the Photo Society started the competition, the monthly competitions, really helped me because then I was able to submit images to the competition and I used those images to submit to JCDC the following year, is what I did, right? So it's a good like building block, a good starting point if you want to actually enter the competition, right? So the first thing you need to do is register, right? On the JCDC website. So you need your TRN, your driver's license or passport, whatever national ID you have. Submit your personal information, and you get an ID number that's personal to you, right? So only you have that number. So whenever you're entering competitions or doing anything with them, you have to have that number to put in, right? I have this. Where is it here? Yes. So there's a handbook on the website, which they're in the process. Read the handbook was the second point, right? They're updating this for 2024. So please have a look at it, right? So we will be in class 5, which will be the adults, right? So level 1 is the digital judging, right? Level 2 is the live judging, right? So I go a little bit more into that. The digital judging basically means there's a form on the website that you have to fill out, an entry form, which I will show you here. 1 second. There we go. All right, so this is what the form looks like, right? So this is the number that I was talking about, the JCDC number. And then your name, email address, that sort of stuff. And then the images that you want to submit. So your title, however you're printing it, the size, you're completed. If you're open to selling it, then you put the price and then the insurance. JCDC does insurance up to $50,000, right? And then you put a little blurb as to what the image is about, right? For biography, I just have amateur photographer here. However, what they want actually is a bio, like an artist bio, which is just a short summary of why you're a photographer, what your accomplishments are as a photographer, right? And then you upload images, and then you send my crypto signature, right? So yeah, I think you have a maximum of 25 meg per upload. So all of those images need to add up to 25 meg, right?
Okay.
When you are right. So, and there's no cost for entering, right? You don't have to pay any entry fee, right? The only time money comes into play is when you have to frame and print the artwork, if it has been selected, right? Eligible. I'm assuming everybody's in Jamaica and has been living here for 2 years at least, right? Photography, images created with a camera or non-camera methods, such as photo etching and printed using digital or darkroom editing and or printing methods. That's how they define photography, right? And then entries. We have a maximum of 5 entries are allowed per category. And I confirmed with JCDC today that if you do a triptych, it's 1 entry, right? So you would still have 4 left if you do a triptych, right? And then you have the sizes here, right? Maximum 72 by 72, so on and so forth. You have to look at the sizes so you don't go above them, right?
Belinda, bear with me. What's a triptych?
Oh, when you have 3 images together.
Oh, okay, okay. All right.
Right. So in other words, suppose you have a flower and you have the petals, you have the stem, you have the leaves. That's a triptych. You put it together.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, put together to make 1 image.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Or it doesn't necessarily have to make 1 image, but it has to be related to each other.
Okay, okay. That's what you mean. It's something like when you have like a landscape printed on the wall, but you split it up in 3, but it's the same thing, or
You can do it, so, yeah, that would apply,
That would have, okay, fine.
would apply.
Okay,
Once you put it in
in
the three
most
pieces.
cases, my understanding is the 3 images tell a singular story, but
Right.
each individual image is its own story.
Oh, okay, okay. I tried a thing. I was fooling around. I did some sunsets up by from Long Mountain, and they were like in landscape. So, you know, I could put it on, you know, I was even thinking of maybe doing a print, but I don't, it's probably not worth it. But it's that's something like that I was thinking of. It's one sunset, but split in 3. And I guess each aspect of the sunset tells a different story.
Yeah.
Basically.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So once you previously entered it, you can enter it again, and each work can only be entered in one category, right? Obviously, it has to be your work, your original artwork, right? You guys can read the rest. I just wanted to make sure. So digital images of entries will be judged by artist and category. All judges comment. Okay. So once they do the digital judging, they usually send you an email, right? Email will give you feedback on each image, whether it has been accepted or not. They may also give you comments on the image, whether they want it cropped or something else, right? Having comments on the image does not necessarily mean it has not been accepted, but they usually do give you feedback, right? And then you have the live judging now where it is, you've been shortlisted. That does not necessarily mean you're going to get an award though. I did not know this. I was told this the other day that just because you get an email saying that you've been shortlisted does not necessarily mean you're going to get an award, right? And then they do the live judging, but you don't get the results until you actually go to the ceremony to find out what you've got. Once you've been invited to the ceremony, that means you have got something, but you don't know what it is until you get there, right? Right, so details of what will not be disclosed until the launch ceremony. And I mentioned
Question, Belinda.
sure.
If you enter and although you won't be getting an award, they won't invite you to the ceremony?
Usually the ceremony is very limited spacing, so normally they don't. They usually tell people that you can come if you've been given an award, and you may get a +1 if you're lucky. That's what happened that's what happened a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Bruce. Bruce,
Yes,
it has become an awards ceremony, and it is true that the space has been limited since we used to use the conference center and don't have it anymore. The opening of the exhibition though is for everybody, but we have changed the awards ceremony to that awards ceremony. So it is only the awardees that have the privilege of attending.
Understood.
So the opening ceremony is the same as the award ceremony. That's what you said?
Yes.
Okay. And if you are selling, they retain 25% of the proceeds of any sale, right? So you have to check all of that. And they show you the format of how to name the image. So entrance first name, entrance last name, title of work, right? And they give an example, right? And 300 DPI JPEG format. They give you the format for the images and stuff like that, right? All of that, right? Sorry, not mean to do that.
One question.
Sure.
So I noticed they gave the DPI for each image. So is it that the pixel dimension can vary just to ensure that you meet that file size upload limit?
Yeah. Because
Okay.
you're not, I don't get them, because the only thing they have here for size is when you're doing the physical, where is it? So 72 inches by 72 inches. That's what they have. I didn't see anything here that deals with pixels or anything like that, just a DPI.
Okay.
Because if you're doing images that are 5 meg, the quality isn't going to be the greatest anyway. That's what I'm assuming. It's when you print images that they shine. And I'm assuming that's what they're emphasizing or gearing towards, right? Okay. So the other thing I wanted to show you guys was this. Okay, so preparing entries for exhibition. So there's a sheet that usually comes preparing. So if you're doing a framed piece as opposed to gallery wrap, right? So there has to be a decent border. Let me see. White, off-white cream or white window mat, and plain black or other suitably colored frame. Window mat must be wide enough to allow rest for the eyes. So that means around here, maybe 2 to 3 inches, depending on the image, right? And then they go into, if you're doing gallery wrap and stuff, they give you the specifications for that. So just be aware that if you are submitting a physical piece, there is specifications for it, right? Right, the other thing I wanted to show you guys was this. When you're submitting, they also have a label that you need to print and attach to your image, right? So artist name, title of work, medium, your entry level, all of that stuff, right? So you have to tape it or glue it to the back of the image once you're delivering it to JCDC. And make sure the images are properly wrapped, because you don't want them damaged, right? I would say, okay, so the next thing is I went through that. In terms of selecting the images, I would say find somebody who you trust, who can help you to organize the images and help you to select the images. Somebody who you value their opinion in photography, right? Because sometimes you look at an image too long and you literally will not see something that's wrong with the image. I'm sure it's happened to all of us, right? I know it has happened to me. I look at an image and a friend of mine looks at it and says, but Belinda, there's a pipe over there or there's something there, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that's in the image. So you just don't see it, right? Somebody to help you select the images, right? I'm printing them. Printing is a whole different world, right? Now, the monitor, some of the images that you're gonna see tonight look a little off in the color to me because I've got a new laptop and the colors don't look the same. So you have to be very careful when you're printing images because the color is very important, right? Dane actually had to reprint. Dane Husey did a couple of the images for me, and he had to reprint a couple of them because what I was seeing on my laptop is not what he was seeing on his laptop. And he got fed up at one point. I said, but then what are you seeing on your screen? And I showed him, and then he realized what was happening, and he had to do the whole thing, correct it, right? So make sure that you might do a test print or something like that, which is just basically either part of the image or a smaller version of the image. So you know the colors are correct, the sharpness is correct. I printed stuff and it's a very high black textured image, but it looks like straight black and it shouldn't. It should have texture in it, right? So I had to tell the printer, look, you need to fix this, right? So printing is a whole different ballgame, right? Right, so you've submitted the images, you have to wait on an email, as I said to you before, and they give you feedback. And then you frame and drop off at JCDC office, and then you have the award ceremony to find out. I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions about the process? Because I think that's it.
Thank you.
So what happens to the images if you haven't been selected for an award?
If they're not putting, just because you haven't been selected for an award does not mean they're not going to put it in the exhibition though. If they're not putting it in the exhibition, they'll ask you to come back for the image. And you can pick it up at their office.
Okay.
And the office for Kingston is Unix Avenue. Right, so yeah. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, all right, I just gonna run through the images quickly. All right, so this was the first of the images that I submitted. or JCDC. This image is actually my grandfather up here. Along with my grandmother's stuff. So romantic rendezvous, which basically just means that she's getting ready for a hot date with her. Okay. So you can see the lipstick and the print and stuff like that. So I was trying to figure out how to make it more interactive, like come to life. So instead of just being a static image. So the open lipstick, her pressing her lips on the napkin to dab it, and then the wine glass. This is actually supposed to be the first of a triptych. I'm gonna do one from the perspective of his table, and then one where they're married, and combine the two things together into one table. So this one was actually done at Edna Manley. If anybody recognized this wall backdrop, I was doing a class up there, and the lecturer got a model to come in, a male model. And yeah, this is one of the images I captured. Light and shadow, both for him, light and shadow, and for the background. He was actually, as I said, I'm not normally in the habit of working with people, but when you're dealing with a professional male model, it makes it a lot easier, trust me, because he knows what he's doing, right? Next one. So this was a merit. And then these are his hands. Some of the things, like the coloring on some of these things is a little off because, as I said, my screen is not the same as it was before. So this was a duality of man. Basically, what I was trying to convey is our light and our dark side. Let me see if I can do this. Yeah. Okay. And then this is the one that got the silver. This was actually when Kingston Creative was doing their walks. They did one to Trenchtown Culture Yard. And we were leaving. We were just about to leave. And I spied this man here. And this is an old school building. And I said, am I brave enough to take this shot? And I snapped the camera and I took the shot because I wasn't sure because of where I was, what the repercussions would be. But it worked out fine. Nobody said anything to me, and I got the shot. So, and this is 2022, so not last year, the year before. As you can see, a lot of my images have a painterly feel to them. So I'm using the camera instead of a paintbrush. This was actually me and Paulette going up to Silver Spring one morning, and this is actually a burnt out building. And this was, people ask me if I've moved the bamboo. No, I cannot move bamboo, it is too heavy. So this is the image I actually saw that morning. And I just edited it to look more like a painting. This is a studio session at a class with Lady Zaka. And there are two images here. This one, this is Michael. He was one of the students in the class actually. And we were taking turns posing for each other. And this is one of the images I caught. And the funny part about this is that I was sitting down and I wasn't actually going to shoot because I don't like crowded areas, and everybody was kind of bungling up in the middle trying to get the shot, the typical shot of him with the lighting in his face and stuff like that. And one of the guys came over to me and said, Belinda, you need to shoot, you can't sit down there. I was like, all right, fine. So I got up and I started shooting, but instead of trying to get the typical shot, I decided to incorporate the equipment into the shots. So you'll see by the next image, which is what I did, right? So I did the lighting, the kiss of lighting, and included the softbox and the lighting and stuff, right? And so forth. And this was a silver in 2022, right? So sometimes you need to come out of your comfort zone and just shoot, and try and do it from a different angle or try and incorporate things. If everybody's bungled up in A position, you go over to B position and try and shoot from there, right? This is the one that got gold last year. This was actually also done at Trenchtown Culture Yard. he was one of the performers down there that day. And he was merrily, happily ignoring me, and I was taking like 1,000 images of him. I guess he's so used to having cameras around him taking pictures that he just ignored me. And it was a blessing because then I was able to capture this shot. And then I edited it. It reminded me of a pencil drawing, and so I edited it to look like that. So, and then this year now, this was, I think, Charlestown. This is the Maroon Hunters. This is literally them going out to hunt with their dogs. So you see the machetes or the cutlasses, and then you see the dogs on their leashes. They're heading out to do their hunting. Right. This one was taken out when we went for a trip, Pelican Bar. This is Pelican in the background.
Yeah.
And then this was one of the men that was ferrying us to and from the beach to out there. So I love this face, his weathered face and black and white, and yeah, his expression is kind of little smile on his face. And then this is the silver for this year. Natural History Society had a annual get together last year. We were going on a hike. I think it was Comfort Castle, and I was just literally walking past his house, and I happened to catch a glimpse of this image. And the lady who was doing the tour said, "Can I take the image?" Because I didn't. It's children involved, right? So she said, I asked her to ask the lady if I could take the image. I thought she knew her. She didn't. Anyway, the lady said, "Go ahead." So I took the image. I had to do some editing because there were power lines and stuff across it and so forth. So I had to clean up the image. But there's so many things about this image that I like. She's actually taking as best care she can of her children. You see the laundry is being done. You see she's taking care of her. I'm assuming that's little girl's hair, stuff like that. So our happy home. So in the midst of all of this, she's taking care of her children to the best of her ability. You know what I mean? That's it. That's this year. If anybody has any questions, let me know.
Belinda, when you're taking, when you do a black and white image, do you set the camera to monochrome or you do it in post?
Mm-hmm.
Do it in post?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. Just check.
And I like punchy black and white. I don't like the faded out version of black and white.
Okay,
So
when you set the camera, when you set it in the camera, it gives you it's a big difference, right?
I don't like it particular. Well, my camera, I don't like it particularly. So I end up using the Lightroom or something to edit it into black
Okay.
and white. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's it. Yikes. Okay. Any other questions?
In terms of submissions, does JCDC ask you for model releases for images with subject?
No.
Okay.
I was actually worried about that when I first started, and they've never asked me for one. I'm assuming maybe if it's a big name person, they might ask, but they've never asked. To my knowledge, I don't know anybody that asked for images. I've been thinking because it's a public, most of the images, if not all images, are public spaces. I don't know, but no, I've never been asked, and it's not in the handbook. It's not, I don't know if when they upgrade it, it will change, but as of the last competition, no.
I've seen other competitions as well as even stock photography sites that once this subject is recognizable, you have to submit a model release.
Yeah, that's what I
I
say.
thought
If
that
it's
was
a
my reason
name,
to ask.
yeah, I'm assuming if it's a name, it would.
Mr. President, we don't do that. The competition is really a look at Jamaica, journalism in Jamaica. So it's not, we would not accept a photograph, for example, of a naked child or anything that would speak negatively of our culture. We wouldn't. But if you're just documenting a day-to-day regular run-of-the-mill idea, the market scene, the streets downtown, and so you're not penalized for that, even if you can see the person's face. You're not.
Are,
It's
are
it's
there any implications if the item is bought at the display or gallery?
well, it is entirely up to the buyer and the seller. JCDC won't interject there. Hello?
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I enjoyed the images, Belinda, a very nice array of, and I particularly like your portraits. Very good.
Thank you, Bruce.
And I continue to be impressed by the really how, the artistic aspect of photography, when they say painting with light, I mean, it has really opened my, since I've been a part of this group, it has opened my eyes to a lot of stuff, Sometimes you look at an image and you just, but I think after the Caribbean photo walk, judging, listening to some of the judging and how in-depth and intricate they went into various aspects of the image, it was really informative. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I advise people, if you're getting, and I think I told you this already, try and do an art course, some kind of,
Yes.
or YouTube, if you
I
can.
see. Yes, I remember that, it's on my to-do list, but boy, I thought that in retirement I would have so much time to laze around, but it's just not working out that way. But I
Do
remember
when
you
you have
telling me that
time.
and about lines and perspective, rule of thirds and the whole of it,
All of that lovely stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, man,
Because it's a difference between taking a quote unquote photograph as opposed to taking a postcard.
Exactly. So I tell people photography is not easy, So hopefully one day, maybe there's some creativity in me. Maybe it will come out one day, but my look feet, I don't know, I can't find it.
No worry yourself about it. It's practice. It come with practice.
I was
Don't
about
Yeah,
to
worry.
say,
I know.
the concert images were good. So
Yeah. Well, you just it's like kind of hit and miss, just like if you go to a sporting event and if you're doing a football match, you just focus on the goal and we see the man in a run down and you say, well, okay, this is where the action is going to happen. Bop, 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 bop. Marky, I wasn't shooting in any continuous mode for this, but
yeah, but you should have
there's
been.
not really, I mean, how you really compose a shot and how you frame a shot is really I mean, if you and I stand up and look at a tree and both of us take a picture of the tree, I mean, mine's going to look completely different from yours,
And
There's
that's
I'm amazed at how you can find artistry in just some very simple things,
Monday. That is true. And Robert, it comes with practice. It comes with learning how to see
Yeah, yeah,
appropriate ways in which the story will have this meat, will have substance,
yeah.
will impress.
Mm-hmm.
How you use light effectively, for example, is a big thing. But
Right.
it comes with practice. You go out often, you see how the light play on things, imagery. You know where to start an image, you know where it should end.
Yeah, and how you
Is that
frame it.
is
all
that
of the light.
Well, actually, I heard you use that term. How are we going to frame this now? I said, wow.
Robert,
Yes,
if you check me this weekend, I have a book I
yes.
can lend you. It's a
Bruce,
code. It's a
stick a
coda
pin.
book
Okay, go ahead.
called The Art of Seeing.
Okay,
Right? I read that thing about 50 times. And every
okay.
time I read it, my eyes open to something new. Right? I lend you. It's a very easy read. I was introduced to that book by Harold Harvey,
What is it? The art of?
The Art of Seeing.
Oh, okay.
First, a thin book.
Mhm.
Check me, and I'm sure it will help you.
Okay.
It will.
Definitely. I'll take you up on that, Bruce. By the way, Bruce, I sent you a WhatsApp sometime, but I don't know if you're not using that number anymore because I don't think you're ready. You and I were supposed to get together to do some Photoshop intro. So we can talk off the air on that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah. I think I probably sent it to a whole number or something.
Mr. President,
All right. So thanks everyone. Thank you for Robert and Belinda for sharing with us. I hope those who are here found some inspiration in Robert's journey and his eagerness to learn craft.
Yeah, man, I need to you can feel sorry for me and take me on as a printer. Yeah, but come on, I enjoyed it, and I look forward to I really should get out and go on some more of the field trips, like the one the one the other day out to St. Thomas. That would have been a good one to go on. There's so many things get in the way sometimes,
Robert,
Yeah, it's all
probably
about
what you should find a way. I don't know how to carry your camera. I know you guys ride at high speeds, but even keep your smallest lens with you, and every time you reach a spot, a rest spot or somewhere,
Yes.
take pictures.
Yeah, that's true.
Look for something new every time you stop.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes I see, I saw an image the other day. The Chinese built this new building on is it Belmont Road? When Belmont Road continues into carries you right out to Oxford Road, that big new building right there.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were clearing, this was like a few months back, they were clearing some rubble. I know the Chinese have this unique looking wheelbarrow. It's like a box with bicycle wheels on the side of it. And it was loaded to the hilt. And both a Jamaican construction worker and a Chinese worker were pushing that thing. And I just saw it. The smile on his face and the smile on the Chinese worker's face just told a story. If I had a camera, that would have
you
been
had your
just...
phone with you?
Yeah, but by time you take out the phone, the image gone. I see quite a few, like sometimes I'm driving with my wife and I say, look at that. Look at that. By the time you get out the phone, it's gone, you know what I mean? So, but
Camera you have with you.
sometimes you have to be in the right place at the right time, and that's what be me sometimes. So, but I will be, but I have my phone with me most times. The other day, morning after I saw this very old gentleman riding a bicycle coming up Arcadia Drive, and I saw a hill, and I said, wow, that would have been such a good shot. But I was driving and I couldn't, yeah. But anyway, I'll persevere. I'll continue.
I want to tell you guys that JCDC is a very, very good place to start.
Yeah.
It encourages camaraderie. So we go to an opening and we talk to each other about what we have done. And I think that is very, very good. And like you're sharing this experience, somebody else might have a similar experience and say, but I captured that.
Yeah.
It is a very, very good place to show. So people know that you have started. I started with JCDC like 1989. And when year 2000 came, I won most of the they just called me to be on the committee. So it is a good place to meet other Jamaicans sharing the same craft.
It's a bar. It's a high bar too, so.
It is. The standard is very high. So when we really get together to do the judging, it's forever. Because we expecting the best. You really have to be good to come
Yeah.
out with something.
You know, those images that Belinda captured, I mean, especially that one with the
Children,
dilapidated house and the children, you know, that really told a story. You know,
yes, yes,
that really told a story. And even the one with that one that was literally framed by itself, looking through the burnt out building and a piece of bamboo across, and you saw the forest in the background. You know, that was striking. I want to learn to do that kind of thing. So, but eventually, yeah.
So you continue to look at those pictures and the book that Bruce is going to
Yeah,
give
man,
you.
I'm gonna take him up on that. I think I
Start
have a
asking yourself, what did they see in this? And
Mm.
see if you can see.
right, right.
So from the perspective of composition, of lighting, of subject matter, of presentation, which idea can you tap into? How would you frame the same image if it was your opportunity?
Okay.
Those kinds of questions. Look at it before you start to take picture. Are you going to take 10 and none of them make sense?
Yes.
Do I need to change my angle? Is it the right time of day? That kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Like when I say shooting landscape, it should be like in the golden hour, either early morning or, you know, at dusk, something like that, I guess.
Yes, some time of the day is far
Yeah,
more
yeah.
dramatic than other
Sometimes
time.
the sun the light too hot.
Robert,
Mm.
if me, you and Donnet were driving a car, and Donnet, and we say, stop the car right here.
Mhm.
Take out a camera and let's see if we can find 20 things to take right here without moving,
Yeah.
right? You and I might struggle to find 3 pictures, and Donnet rip off 30,
Yes,
And you
yes,
say,
yes.
but Donnet, I never see that. I never see that.
Yeah, that's
But
what I'm
it's right
saying, you
here.
know. We can stand up here and we look out over the, you know, because where I live, you know, there used to be a nice wooded area over there. But, you know, both would stand here and look at the same thing and see it differently capture something completely differently through the lens, you know. So it's
Seeing.
people think photography is just a simple thing, but it's not, you know. To the layman, it's a very, very intricate science, a very, very intricate art form.
I have a question, Donnet. How do you see AI impacting on the art of photography?
Well, because at my age, it bothers me. I feel like we are leaving this certainty, this human certainty. I can see this, I can feel this, for this almost artificial imposition of reality. I looked at some AI photographs the other day, and the people had like 3 legs or 4 fingers, or the hands are too small, the legs are too big. It bothers me, but I cannot change it. So I realize that I am at this place in my art career where I am about to make a change. I cannot follow that trend. It is not for me. I don't believe in it. But it is going to be here. It is here to stay. But it is for the younger photographers. It feels very artificial to me. All the African girls and boys look the same way.
Yeah, so you see some
Done
of
it.
these
Some of
images.
those images that you're seeing with flaws are
Yeah.
actually older generated images. Over the past year, they have become more refined. So I'd say 90% of images that are generated actually look proper.
They are making
So
strides with their improving.
as time passes and the algorithms develop, they'll get better.
But they're feeling the same way. I can't feel that they're artificial. Maybe it is just out of looking around for so many years. But they're not feeling soft and real. They're not spices like a HTB, hot of and bun up bread, or bun. They're hard. images, they're not spicy. Dark tone kids all look the same way. Dark tone just mean one dark continuous tone. I'm not feeling it yet, but then it's my age. I applaud the people who want to do it or try it or use it as their art. It is also a lot of cheating. So we have to
It kind of
redefine.
detracts from the art form itself, you know. I mean, the purest nature of photography, it kind of just shortcuts the whole thing. And
But
so,
Donald, I put it to you that in 3 years' time, you will, with all your experience, you will not be able to tell the difference between an AI generated photo and one done real photo, based on the improvements they're making now, and even videos. You can write a video right now and generate it in 5 minutes. You know, a 3-minute video.
Yes, you can. You
All
can.
AI.
But it's not my sensibility. I am not there yet. I spend too much time blowing up these AI images looking for the flaws. That is
Yeah.
what I do. I spend too much time just
Yes.
looking for what is wrong.
Yes, yes.
And I can look at fingers and I can look at toes and I know, oh, this proportion is out. Why is there another foot behind here? So why is there only one hand? Why is, I blow up the image and I literally look for the flaws.
But the bigger problem is with black people, because they really were first experimenting with white people. So they are ahead with getting, better looking white, more natural looking white images than black. But they will get there.
Yes, 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 yes. I think so.
Interesting
They're
times are
getting
ahead.
harder and harder to distinguish. I think I've heard of 2 cases so far where AI generated images had. Sorry about it. I've seen 2 accounts so far where AI generated images had won photo competitions.
Major ones too. Yep.
Yeah. And it was the entrant who, after winning, stated that, hey, this was AI generated.
And the backlash was phenomenal.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
It would be, because whose image is it now? It
By
has
copyright, it's nobody's.
who won? Who did it belong to? How
Well,
much?
based on some of the AI tools, it is the prompter that owns the image.
So who are we?
How they consider the generation, you as a person writes a body of text or a block of text to prompt the AI engine what to output. So the person giving the instruction is the one who is giving the ownership.
Okay. How does that feel to you?
I
could
think
tell him that
it would be
again.
similar to an artist who does compositions. So they're taking different elements of images and then compositing them into a single art piece. I'd say it could be considered closer to that.
But the artists are taking their own images. AI is taking images from where?
Everywhere.
They're being
Everything
fed
that was done before.
samples online. So
Yeah, everything that was
those
done.
images are used as reference points.
Yeah, that is my problem. But it's okay. I have learned to accept it. I just don't belong in using other people's idea and calling it my own. I don't feel right with that. So I will continue to create what I can, even if I don't sell them, they're going to be my expressions, my personal expressions, and I'll be happy and contented with that. I understand where I am. I remember when Maria Lycona said to me, we are going to contribute images to the tsunami victims. And then she says, but don't give me any of your artsy-fartsy images done it, Zaka. And I understood where she was at the time when I started. I am now at that place. So we grow up and we are up on these changes and we can either navigate and go on the other side or choose to stop.
Donna, the way I see it, I think that all of us need to be committed to work harder at our craft, right? To just try and maybe not stay ahead, but even just keep up with AI, because AI is coming whether we like it or not, right? It's coming, and it has to inspire us to keep working on it. And we can probably use AI to conceptualize some ideas and go there. You can generate the image and say, listen, I'm going to go there and find maybe a Jamaican version of this image and create it. Because we don't have to be original with the idea.
So yeah, that is the place we have come to.
Yeah.
We don't have to be original. So that word is going out the door.
But Donnet, you thought about it, it was your concept, it is your concept, your idea. But as that a number of people have done versions of it before. But it's an idea you have.
Why can't I put my idea together without an engine?
I see where you're going.
But it's all right. Let's see what happens. I am open to it. I just don't know how I personally feel about using AI for my craft. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know yet, but I understand it is here and we need to learn about it. We need to see what happens. We really need to be open to it. But do I want to accept it? I'm not there yet.
Yep.
Okay, understood.
Mm.
It's done. It is just like some people believe that using a mirrorless camera is cheating and your photography is not growing. There are some people who still believe that, but you can see, can correct it right there in the camera instead of really learning photography and learn about exposure.
Okay.
It's cheating.
Mm-hmm.
A shortcut.
Shortcut.
I think you're gonna have varying degrees of generalists, and we would just have to
Navigate.
identify where we want to fit in all of it.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, I hope from Belinda's presentation that more of us will look into submitting images to the JCDC competition this year. Mm. All right,
Well,
guys. So,
President, I think
yes, sir.
the executive should really set a goal, to get X amount of members entering so we can stand out as a society participating in our cultural expressions.
Bruce, that has happened before. In 2018, I think, we stood out so much that they gave us an opportunity to have an exhibition at the conference center. The Jamaica Society first big exhibition, yeah. So it's just to get back there. Or it was sponsored?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so the photo competitions, one of the aim is to encourage persons to shoot. As Belinda said, some of her entries came out of those competitions. So let's try and put more effort into the competitions, and based on the critique you get from the judgings, decide whether you want to submit images from those competitions, or apply the critique that you were given to shoot other images that you can submit.
Right.
Okay, guys, thanks for coming, and I hope everyone got their piece of motivation, insight out of this evening's session, and looking forward to more development as we go through 2024.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, take
Yeah.
care and enjoy the rest of your evening.
All
Okay,
right.
bye.
Good night.
Yeah,
Good
man.
night.
Everybody have a good night and take care.
Right,
All right,
right.
thanks again,
Thank
Robert.
you, Robert. Thank
Yeah,
you,
man.
Belinda.
Yeah, man. Enjoyed it. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.